Good evening, Drew.
Oh, my God. I'm so frustrated right now.
Oh, what's wrong, Drew?
Well, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. I have so many like random thoughts for this podcast. It's gonna be a weird one, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm drinking a coffee. I just had my ice cream. I'm feeling pretty good.
You're drinking a coffee at 9:00.
Yeah. Well, I'm a weirdo.
Okay, that's too late for caffeine. But I'm not your parent, so you do.
It's true. I wish you were my dad. You're a cool dad. We've established that you're a very cool dad. No,
you should be sipping on a bourbon.
No. I had a drink with dinner, and I find that when I drink now, and I don't know, maybe this is just me. When I drink, I get very sleepy.
Okay,
because I have a cocktail with dinner, and then I get very sleepy. So my go-to has been I go get my ice cream, and then I get my Americano.
Yeah, listeners,
I get my
ice cream. Air quotes.
Yep, I get my ice cream, and then I get a little Americano, and I eat the ice cream, and then I drink the coffee, and that's a pretty good Saturday night for me. Yes, it does keep me up a little bit later, but that lets me do things like the podcast, and then play video games till an unreasonable time in the morning for a 42-year-old man. Like there's no. Okay. I'm a giant child. I'm just a giant child. Okay. I'm going to be leaning on you very heavily for this first topic because I did not have time to read this link. So
so this article is huge. Okay.
What you linked to me was a review of the Mac Studio.
Now, this is a little bit of follow up about the M1 Ultra in the new Mac Studio. Mm-hmm. The link I gave you is The Verge's review of the Mac Studio and M1 Ultra, which is generally glowing. One of the things we did talk about last episode was how Apple kind of hand cherry picks their benchmarks to look good. And I'm just going to read this paragraph to you. This is about GPU performance. Okay, mm-hmm. It was a different story with graphics performance, however. Apple, in its keynote, claimed the M1 Ultra would outperform NVIDIA's RTX 3090. I have no idea where Apple's getting that from. We ran Geekbench Compute, which tests the power of a system GPU on both the Mac Studio and a PC running an RTX 3090, blah, 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 and the Mac Studio got destroyed. It got less than half the score of the RTX 3090 did on that test. Okay. Now, I've done a little bit of research and I've read some other articles and watched stuff on YouTube. And if you remember that graph, right, where Apple kind of drew the M1 Ultra GPU performance and the RTX 3090 and said, hey, we outperform it drawing 200 watts of power. Well, apparently that graph was incomplete because the 3090's bar keeps going because the 3090 will gladly draw as much power, a comical amount of power.
Yep.
And just keep right on going.
Yeah. Wow.
So Apple Apple cherry picked their benchmarks to look good, but the 3090 will gladly draw comical amount of watts of power and just obliterate the M1 Ultra and GPU performance.
Woof.
That's it. That's all I wanted to share since we talked about this last week. And, but again, like the review from The Verge was overwhelmingly positive. The people who are getting the M1 Ultra Mac Studio to review absolutely love it for the tasks that they do compared to other Macs. It's absolutely blowing it out of the water.
I didn't get a chance to read this, but I did sort of scroll halfway down when you were talking, or actually 2/3 of the way down where they show the charts where it's like, the Geekbench 5 compute, and their numbers I think are more real world. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Like it'd be one thing if Apple got caught up in like a technicality or something, but that really smacks just like dishonesty to me.
It's a little dishonest.
It's a little dishonest, and you hate to see it.
I mean, and let's be honest, like even if they would have drawn the full graph, they could have told a really good story. Like, hey, like we get like a little over maybe about half the power at about a quarter of the watts, and I think that's still pretty achievable. Because for 3090 to get that much power, it's just or get that much speed. It's just drinking electricity like it was going out of style. But they didn't, and there it is.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like this article is overall very positive on the hardware.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I still want one. I still want one really badly.
I do too. Yeah, but I'm
just a couple things to wrap a bow on the new Mac discussion. So at dinner, much to the annoyance of my lady friend, I was on my phone and I saw a couple interesting links that I wanted to share with you. The first is Asahi Linux. I'm not familiar with that distribution of Linux.
I'm not either. I'm gonna drop another link because it's also very cool. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Asahi Linux is the first distribution to support Apple Silicon.
Yes. Yep.
Which is wild to me because I feel like the whole reason you buy a Mac is to get into the OS. But I guess if you really want Linux that badly, go crazy.
Yeah.
It talks about how you can dual boot it and everything. I've not, like I said, I dabble in Linux. I like the fact that I can use a shell on my Mac today. Apparently it's in alpha. If you have a new Mac and you want to try that, please report back. I don't think anybody's gonna. So it's interesting, right? In the Tom's Hardware article that I was reading this in, understandably, and given a big red flag by the developers, there are some significant wrinkles with this alpha. There are a large number of Mac I/O and hardware features that don't yet work, and the most important of these are, and you'd think there'd be one or two bullet points. There's like a dozen. DisplayPort, Thunderport, HDMI on MacBooks, Bluetooth, GPU acceleration, video codec acceleration, neural engine, CPU deep idle, sleep mode, camera, and touch bar. Literally everything on the Mac doesn't work, but you can run Linux.
Yeah. I dropped an article. This is off their GitHub repo where the one of the lead developers on there basically wrote some really interesting details about the M1 chip and how he got this to work. And I'm gonna this is the Paul Reads to Drew podcast.
Okay.
Let's see. Apple's approach to third-party OSs is essentially have fun. We do not have any expectations of direct support, documentation, or additional development effort from the team, nor do we expect them to attempt to hinder third-party OSs in any deliberate way. They have explicitly developed the ability to securely run third-party OSs and bootloaders on these machines and left the rest to us. So, I mean, Apple could have totally just said no and no, if it's not Mac OS, middle fingers, but they're like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah, they're not truly embracing open source, but they're open source adjacent, I guess would be the right way to say it.
Yeah, we're not going to help you, but if you want to get this to work, go nuts. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and finally, right, just again, kind of a callback to the reason we had sort of this topic front loaded today. I own an NVIDIA 3090 right now. I've owned it for, I don't know, year and a half. It's overkill for what I'm using it for. I have pushed it for encoding and I played around with doing some Spark Compute on it just to say that I did, because I had to justify the price to myself when I bought it. And yeah, I mean it drinks power. It puts out a serious amount of heat even in my well ventilated case. But as NVIDIA is wont to do, they will often release the TI version of their cards. There has been a rumored 3090 Ti for quite some time now. And this is another link that I saw today. Again, just to put this in perspective, they're saying that if this is true, a Canadian retailer apparently leaked quotes mine, an RTX 3090 Ti at a painful, not my word, but apt, painful $4,000. Now, 3090s are supposed to MSRP in the $1,700 to $1,800 range for a reference board. System integrators and graphics card manufacturers like third parties like Asus and MSI and Gigabyte and everything, factory overclock them and put LEDs all over them and everything and charge you a $200 premium. So if we weren't living in a time where, one, these were obtainable, and two, they weren't being charged extra, and you can't even really call it gouging. I mean, it's just what the market's sort of driving right now. Like places like Micro Center and Best Buy and other hardware retailers are making the best of the situation. I think it's impossible to get a 3090 if you can find one for anything less than $2,600. So this TI version coming in at around $4,000, is it shocking? No. Is it still outrageous? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a Mac Studio for that price.
You can get a very well-equipped Mac Studio for this price and a display, I might add.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I'm going to change things around here a little bit since we're sort of on the topic. Paul, how's your iPad?
It's great. It's great.
Okay,
I love it.
Tell me about your iPad.
It's blue. It's blue. Yeah. It's an absolutely beautiful shade of blue. It's blue. It's wonderful. I love the color.
What was the blue? Well, just keep talking. I'm gonna pull up the blue because I don't think I saw a blue.
Yeah, it's good. I got the blue. They changed the blue to make it like deeper and darker. It actually looks like blue, unlike a lot of Apple's kind of muted colors, where in most lights it just looks silver with a little bit of tint to it. It's blue. It's wonderful. I really haven't used it that much. I've read some comics on it. Coming from the big 12.9 inch, I was a little worried that my comics would feel cramped. They're fine. They're absolutely the loss in screen real estate is made up by the fact that it's much, much lighter, which I enjoy because I do have to hold this thing while I read. I've played some games on there. I haven't watched any videos, or the big test will be when I edit this episode of the podcast tomorrow on it. So I'll give my full impressions next week on performance. But so far, I really like it. It's beautiful. It's a great size. Going from Face ID to Touch ID, it took me about like 30 minutes to get used to.
I still can't get used to it. I
gotta put my finger on the button. Boom, done. Now I just kind of like, I don't even think about it anymore. I just like rest my finger on the lock button and it's fine. I really like it.
Okay, so a couple questions for you. One, when did you order it and when did you get it? You ordered it on launch day, right?
I did, like right when it came out. Like launch minute, I ordered it and I got it Friday afternoon.
Oh man, that's so slick. I love how Apple does their launches.
I mean, are they still shipping at a good? Like, is it like everything else where the shipping is delayed? Let's upsell me, Apple.
No.
March 25th. Okay, so they're not that back ordered. You get them in about a week. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is next week. I'm looking at this, and again, I don't really know if the website does this a justice, but the blue looks very light to me.
It's not a super deep blue, but it's very vibrant, if that makes sense. Like you can look at it and go, "Oh, that's blue." Unlike where I think a lot of their like other colors, like the purple, is just a little bit too muted for my taste. But then I really haven't seen it in person.
I love the purple. My iPad mini is the purple. Now you said that obviously this is a little bit smaller than your iPad Pro. How much smaller?
The iPad Pro is 12.9 inches, and this is learn more specs. Why can't I find it? 10.9. So 2 inches shorter on the diagonal for the display.
Okay, so it's noticeable.
Yeah, it is for sure.
But same Retina. I mean, it's still Retina, right? So it's like it's not a different resolution or anything.
I think it is slightly smaller. Like it has less pixels.
Okay.
So the 12.9 is 2,732 by 2,048 pixels at 264 points per inch. The Air is 2,360 by 1,640 at the same DPI. So,
okay.
about 400 to 500 pixels in each each dimension less, but it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
So then what are you doing with your Pro then?
I don't know yet.
Like, does that go? Do the kids inherit that, or
I don't think the kids are interested in it.
Okay.
My son's got a my son has a Mini that he loves, and my daughter has the previous version of the Air. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it because I really want to like edit a podcast on it before I make my final decision about what I'm going to do. I don't know. I may sell it back to Apple. I may see if my wife wants it. I may just sell it. I don't know. It may just go into the pile of stuff that I don't do anything with.
Yeah.
It keeps getting larger and larger.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, I've got one of those piles directly in, well, not directly in my line of sight, but I don't have to turn my head very far. I see like an old iPad. I've got an old iPhone Max over there that's just sort of sitting there.
Yeah.
I could probably sell both of those things. The iPad Mini, it's an old iPad Mini. I think it's like one of the first iPad Minis. I think I talked about this already on the podcast where I wanted to see how much it was worth, and Apple's like, nah, you can keep that, champ.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you like it.
I like it.
I'd be interested to hear about the editing experience on it. Like, and we don't have to go into detail like on the program you use and everything, but is it the editing experience? Like, I'm assuming you have like the different audio tracks because you do we do the double header thing.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to have like less tracks displayed at the same time? Like what do you think is going to be the biggest impact?
With only 2 tracks, occasionally 3 on the big boy iPad, there's a lot of wasted space. Just like a lot of space doing absolutely nothing. So I'm not too worried about having less area to work in, but we'll find out. I haven't loaded any audio tracks into it at all. So now I do expect the actual, at the very end when I say make an MP3, I expect that to be much faster.
Yes.
But then again, like it doesn't take very long today. Like it maybe takes like 2 minutes on the my iPad I have now. So
it's an hour podcast, Michael. How much could it take?
Yeah, and a bit like not a lot of edits. I do some basic like leveling of the audio in there.
Well, you use that plugin, right? Or that one application?
Yeah. Well, that's the pre-workflow. I use.
My bad.
I use an isotope. I use a program called, what is it called? Isotope RX to remove any clicks or hums or buzzes or like background audio that's prevalent. And not that we have a lot of that. It just gets rid of anything that's left. And then I take those files into Ferrite Recording Studio on the iPad. I do my editing, and that has some can't remember what it's called. It's called auto leveling, where basically it helps even out the quiet parts and the loud parts to make everything kind of sound the same volume, just to kind of make that a little better. I don't run it on the strong. I run it like on the lightest setting just to kind of get everything, like our 2 voices, a little bit closer. Not that they're far apart on the 2 audio tracks, but just to kind of get them a little closer together anyway. And it works really well. And then it takes about like 2 minutes to do all that and give me an MP3. I'm hoping that's like, I bet you this M1 just rips through that like, but
well, you know what's funny? Like, okay, not to spend too much time on this, but I can tell sort of when that kicks in, right? Because when there's transitions between our voices, so I think there's 2 things working against me here. One, my voice sounds really bad just because I have a bad sounding voice, but the other thing is I use Audacity to record on my desktop. And it does a thing where I think it tries to auto level my voice, and I, for the life of me, cannot find where that happens in this program. It's just like sometimes it records me really loud, sometimes it records me really, really low, and I don't move my head around when I'm recording. Like I'm literally sitting with the mic on the boom, and it's like right in front of my face, and I just record right here. Like it's not, and my gain isn't super high. I got my dip switches and everything set right. Like I feel good about it, and like when I play games with people or I'm streaming, like the audio sounds decent. But I don't know if it's Audacity that's doing it or that Isotope program, but it sometimes they're like, you'll cut back to me in the edit, and it's like I can like hear my nostrils. Like it's, I don't know how else to explain that.
Yeah,
and I really think it's due to, but I really think it's due to Audacity. Really.
I don't know, like it's one thing to like use your mic for like Discord or something because there's a lot of compression happening there. It's another thing to use the raw audio coming off of your mic when there's not a lot of processing because you get a lot more just kind of, mouth sounds, or like
mouth
breathing
sounds.
and stuff. Yeah, but it's okay. It makes it's an intimate experience for our dear listeners.
Right. It's like you get the vinyl version of this. You don't get to see. Yeah,
exactly.
It's vintage.
It sounds warmer.
Yeah, warmer sound. All right, let's turn this into a comic book podcast for a little bit.
Let me strap in. Hold on.
All right, man. I'm trying so hard, Paul. I'm trying so goddamn hard. All right. So a couple episodes ago, I don't know if it was last episode or the one before that, we were talking about comics, and I said that I wanted to get back into reading comics. So, was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. I went to the Laughing Ogre, or was that's the name of it, right?
Yeah, they had to recently like fix their front window too, because didn't someone drive through it?
I mean, maybe they have big glass. It looked fine. I didn't see any damage, but went to the comic book store that we talked about on here before here in Columbus, and it's a super cool place. I mean, there's like 2 or 3 women that are always working there, and they're just so nice and so helpful, especially when you got someone like me in there that just does not belong and doesn't know what he's looking for. But I we talked about this a little bit. You can go back and listen to the episode. But the short version of this is I went in there and I really wanted to get some new comics to read. And we talked specifically about some DC Black Label stuff. So I went in there with like a mental list of certain things that I wanted. And this would have been my 4th trip to this comic book store. And you've been in there, but just for people who haven't, they basically have the store laid out really nicely. Like on the right-hand side of the store, there's these huge bookcases. And on these bookcases are, graphic novels, comic books, stuff like that is organized by, I believe, artists. It's not necessarily organized by writer. It's organized by artists. So like if I want Neil Gaiman stuff, Gaiman. If I want his stuff, I go over there and it's alphabetized. I go to the G's and there's all the Sandman comics, right? Like they're just there. And then sort of towards the middle of the store on some of the islands, they're dedicated to specialist stuff. Like they literally have an island for Marvel and they have an island for basically Batman, not just DC, but they have like an island for everything Batman. And then on the left-hand side of the store along the wall are most of the pulpy serial like comic books that you would get, the canonical comic book. And then sort of littered throughout the store are other little things. And I went in there with my mental list, and I wanted to get 3 Jokers, and I wanted to get Harleen, and I wanted to get a couple other ones. But those were like the 2 that after sort of reading up on them, like those are the 2 that I really wanted to read. So I walked in, they greeted me. Hey, can we help you? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to look around. I think I can find it. Spoiler alert, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
And they ended up helping me. The 3 Jokers one was on the Batman shelf. I must have missed it. And then the Harleen one was sort of tucked off to the side somewhere. I don't really understand how it was arranged. It wasn't under the artist name, which I cannot pronounce the artist name. I'm going to butcher the artist name when we talk about it. But
let's not even try.
Yes, Stefan Stedjic.
And you tried. There's a lot of. It's very Swedish. There's lots of little hats and things.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. They're not listening to this podcast. They will never listen to this podcast. But I'm sorry. I cannot say that name. We'll just go with Steve. So I went in there and I bought these comic books and I brought them home. And over the course of about a week, I had a chance to read them. I want to start talking about 3 Jokers because I'm very confused.
Okay.
And Okay, you could put in your daughter saying spoilers, nerds, or whatever here. I don't know who's going to read these things or if anybody even listens to our podcast anymore, but just it's worth putting in here. But
okay, spoilers for comic books coming up. There we go.
Hey, nerds, there's going to be spoilers.
Yeah, okay. So the whole premise, as I understand it, of Batman 3 Jokers is there are multiple Jokers. Like
that's the premise.
That is the premise. There is a criminal mastermind Joker. There is a bad comedian homicidal maniac Joker, and then there's like another Joker and
the other one.
And the other one. I can't remember right now, but they basically make multiple versions of themselves, and they're trying to make a better Joker, and they make a whole bunch of Jokers. They also make a Joker shark, which I thought was really interesting. That was really interesting. Okay, but I was like 3 pages into this thing, and it isn't just Batman and the Joker in this. There is
the Bat family. Yes.
There's the extended Bat family, as you call it. There is Batgirl, and there is Red Hood, which I don't understand, but we're going to talk about him in a minute. Just bear with me. First, I want to talk about Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon. She got shot and paralyzed, but she's running on a treadmill. Help.
I don't. At some point, she got better. I don't know. I haven't read.
That's how that works. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in The Killing Joke, she gets shot in the abdomen by the Joker, and she's paralyzed, and she's in a wheelchair at the end of that. And I am not a doctor, but I don't think you just get better from paralysis. I don't think that's how that works. I'm sure that it could. And hold on, while you're looking that up, right? Because I did the homework. Apparently, depending on like what version of the Bat family you're into, she either becomes Oracle to help other crime fighters, or she gets experimental neurosurgery to be able to run. And apparently she can run so good now that she just breaks treadmills.
So when she was in the wheelchair, when she was paralyzed, she became Oracle to help. And then apparently, when they did the reboot to the big New 52, Barbara Gordon was walking on there, and in Batgirl number 4, you learn that she received surgery in a South African clinic to fix her spine.
In a South African clinic. Now, again, right? I read that too, but again, this doesn't track, right? Like, okay.
It's comic books. Drew.
I know. Just how I know. I can suspend a certain amount of disbelief, but here's my problem with these things. Like, okay, like if you're gonna have a story, have it be like somewhat continuous. Like I know that's I know this is a me problem. I get it. But it just doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, why wouldn't you have her still be Oracle? Why is she now running around and breaking treadmills because she's running so good?
Because she's Batgirl.
She's Batgirl. Because she's Batgirl.
And you can set if she's Batgirl, then I mean, welcome to DC Comics, Drew. If she's Batgirl, then you can have a line of comics called Batgirl,
right?
And then sell those, and then people buy those.
Yeah.
See, people aren't going to buy a series of comics. Oh, actually, that's not true.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Oracle, right?
Oracle, but yeah, I don't know. Batgirl. She got
and
better.
what was the group she was in as Oracle? It wasn't Birds of Prey, was it? No, that's not right.
I don't think she was in Birds of Prey. I don't follow all of the DC comic nonsense anymore. Yeah, I dip my toes in on some series from now and then, but
you're still a Batman guy though, right?
Yeah, but I've outside of like 3 Jokers, and I haven't read a Batman comic recently. Maybe I should get back into Batman, Drew. Maybe that's what I should do.
I for some reason I still thought you were into it, but maybe I'm wrong.
The last time I tried to read DC comics, they just make me so mad. They are so. All of the worst aspects of comics are right there in DC, at least on the main stories. It just makes me mad. It makes me mad.
Okay, but help me. Like, why? Why is it? What makes it bad?
They love to have Marvel does this to a degree too, but I don't think they do it nearly as bad. DC loves the storylines that bridge comics. So like there'll be like a big quote Batman story arc, and there'll be the first 2 parts of it will be in the Batman things, and then another part of it will be in like the Detective Comics, which is the other Batman series, and then the 5th part of it will be in the Bat Family one, and then there'll be ones in Batgirl and Nightwing and stuff. So you have to keep buying all these different comics to complete the story. They love doing that shit. They love it.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah, I mean you got to cross pollinate, I guess. But always be selling, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so that was sort of the first thing that caught me off guard, right? And then, okay, I understand that there have been multiple Robins throughout Batman's career. I think we're up to 4.
Sure, yes.
Okay, so because original Robin
Hood,
dies.
Yes.
Right.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, okay. Well. Red Hood in a lot of the comics is Jason Todd, who was the Robin that was killed post his resurrection in the Lazarus pits.
Okay,
because
sure.
you can bring people back to life now because of the Lazarus pits, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Okay, so Red Hood is Robin, who apparently had his head hurt so bad by the Joker that he just says fuck it and he just uses guns.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And he just like straight up shoots people, which
yes. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm here for that. I might need to read some more Red Hood stuff. But that caught me off a little bit guard. Like, hey, here's Batgirl and Batman, using their batarangs and, karate kicks to take down guys. But Red Hood's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to shoot this guy. And then he just shoots one of the Jokers in the head, which that was... Yep. Mm-hmm. That was pretty good. And then what was the other thing? I should have wrote better notes here. Okay. Let me just cut to the chase. I liked it. Mm-hmm. I thought that the art was really well done. I thought that the story was good. Yeah, it was a good comic. I mean, I other than like that weirdness because like here's the thing, right? As somebody who's not super into comics, when I'm like dipping my toes into this stuff, right? And the minute you cut away from Batman and you start focusing on other people, I need to basically hit pause on my comic and then like open Wikipedia and like, okay, now who is this again? And that really detracts from it because I feel like I'm supposed to know.
They expect a certain literacy. Yeah.
That's yeah, and that's why I was so curious about sort of where to start when I got into this, because it's a good book, and I think I would have enjoyed it more if I would have known those things.
And here's the thing about 3 Jokers, which is absolutely bonkers. So a lot of the Black Label comics, they're not considered canon, right? They're just sub little stories. 3 Jokers is one of the exceptions.
Okay.
In the Prime Earth, it is now accepted that there were spoilers, 3 Jokers.
Right. Okay, but the things that I learned, other than the main plot of that book, is that Barbara Gordon can walk again.
Yes.
Red Hood has some emotional damage and kills people, apparently. Batman's sort of okay with it, I guess.
It's their relationship on Facebook it's complicated.
It's very complicated.
I think he feels a guilt for what happened to Jason Todd, but he never like accepts him fully into like the Bat family. But he doesn't stop him either.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Let's see, what else did I learn? Apparently Red Hood has a crush on Batgirl, and they were mighta, coulda, shoulda, coulda been or something, but
true.
They're not. I don't know if they ever do. Yeah, but I really enjoyed 3 Jokers. It's a little short, but I guess it was
3
what
issues.
it was 3 issues. So I mean, I bought the hardcover edition, and it's on my shelf over there, and it's a good edition. I really enjoyed it. But to go back to what you just said, right, is that some of these DC Black Label comics are not canon.
Yes.
Let's talk about Harleen.
Okay, let's.
I fucking loved it.
It's good. It's really, really good.
Really fucking good. Now, for those that aren't aware, right, Harleen is, and again, this is where I think they did something sort of masterful here. It is not Harley Quinn's origin story. It's not. Like, it is more about how Harleen who becomes Harley Quinn, falls in love with the Joker.
Yes. It's a love story.
It's a love story. It is a psychological thriller wrapped up in a love story. And to your point, the only part of this that I did not love was the fact that they basically retconned Two-Face's backstory into it.
Yeah.
Because he makes an appearance for reasons in this series, which I think it was also 3 issues, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. But my God, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good.
I like that one a lot. Yeah. It's very much focuses on how. I mean, it's one part love story and like one part like emotional abuse story. Because, like, it focuses on how the Joker took advantage of her. Yeah. Recognized, like, saw a weakness and then just absolutely, like, gaslighted her, for no other better word.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's secretly psychologically manipulative because she feels like she's a trained psychologist and, therapist, and she can control the situation, and then she can, and things go crazy, and she ends up falling in love with the Joker. And man, I thought the writing was really solid. Like, the storytelling was awesome. I loved the art in that book. I felt that is, I think of all the comic books I have read.
By the same person who did 3 Jokers.
Is it really?
Yep.
I feel like I should know that. But
Steve. We'll call him Steve.
Steve. Yeah, I guess it looks kind of similar. But I don't know, like, it's so weird that you say that, because, like, if I were to compare those two things side by side, like, I feel that Harleen, like, visually is on a whole nother level than 3 Jokers.
I wonder if they have different, like, illustrators and the same writer, but yeah.
But the Harleen one, like, I have, like, of all the things that I have read, there have been times, like, just comparing it to Saga, which I think is my favorite thing that I've read so far. When I look at Saga, there are certain pages in that comic book that I think are just wonderfully visual, right? Because it's sci-fi and imagination running wild in there, and it's cool. There were certain pages of Harleen that I would be like, man, if I could find a big canvas print of that to hang on my wall, I would. Like, some of the pictures in that were just amazing. Like, I just really, really love the artwork in that book. It was super good.
I'm looking at some of the pictures right now. Yeah.
Like, the cover's good.
That first cover when it's like her holding up the broken mask was like my iPad lock screen.
Yeah.
For a very long time. Yeah.
Well, in the edition that I bought, towards the back, like after the comic ends, they have the covers that were used for the 3 books. Those are every bit as good. Like, I love the broken mask one because I think that really, sets the stage for what you're into here. But some of those other ones, and then like how the artist talks about his method and like how the comic came to be, and like I thought his like drawings of Poison Ivy were also really good. The Killer Croc was also really well done by him. He has an interesting take on the Joker, right? A little more youthful, a little more like hunky Joker. I'm here for it. Like, he can get it. Like,
he's. Like he I get the vibe that like this is like how she remembers the Joker, not necessarily what he looks like, because he's very much idealized. Like his grotesque features are very much played down, and his handsome features are played up. Like he's kind of buff, and he's got his hair's not unkept; it's long and flowing. And
Yep.
And this is why I like comics so much, because not only do you get words, you get pictures.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm here for the pictures. But yeah, I adored it, man. Like I really took my time with it. You know, the whole little subplot that runs throughout the book of like the executioners and Harvey Dent thing, like, you know, I take or leave that. But the rest of the book was phenomenal. I mean, that was a solid recommendation.
I'm gonna reread that. It was good. You got me thinking about it again. I'm gonna reread that sucker.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. Like I literally spent like an hour one day looking for like desktop wallpapers by that artist. Because man, it was just a really, really, really good comic. But I mean, before we move on, I mean, are you reading anything cool or?
I'm just still reading some of my Marvel bullshit. So,
have you read DMZ?
I have. I didn't know that existed until I saw the trailer for the HBO Max adaptation, which is out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So when I was in the comic book store, because it's been out for a while, and again, I think this is part of the reasons that I bounced off of comics so hard in the past is I want to be able to read the whole story. I don't want to have to wait, right? Yeah. I don't want to be like, oh man, I read that 12-page or however many pages are in a comic book now. I got to wait another month for the next one. So DMZ, right? Like DMZ's been out for a while. And they have multiple, they have multiple, like, sort of like they did for Saga. I don't know if they're called omnibus or compendiums or I don't know what the right word is to describe
volumes.
It. Volumes.
In the trade paperback. Yeah. There's.
Yeah.
Whew, yeah.
But they had volume 2. They did not have volume 1. So when I eventually go back there, if I can snag volume 1 and 2, I would probably read it because it has a pretty cool premise, and again, the artwork looks pretty cool, and it's supposed to be pretty well done.
Yeah, it's by Vertigo originally, which is now part of DC, and it's about like it's not too far from what's going to happen. It's the second American Civil War,
right, in New York.
In New York, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to. I don't think that will probably be the next thing I dive into if I can snag it. Like I went on Amazon to see if I could get a copy, but like all of them were like $40 or $50. I don't know if it's out of print or it's just hard to get right now or what. But
I bet you it's probably hard to get right now.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to get one in, and
unless you're like me and just buy everything off of Comixology.
Is all of DMZ on Comixology?
I'm sure. Yeah. Yes.
It is? Okay. Wow. Okay, maybe I might be getting a Comixology subscription tonight. Do you have a promo code? Like, how does this work?
Ooh, it looks like you can get volume 1 on Comixology for free if you're a Prime subscriber.
I am that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have homework.
So that includes the first 5 issues. Okay, so yeah, maybe we'll give ourselves a challenge for next week. Read volume 1 of DMZ.
Okay, if I can get it for free. So all right, I'll get that downloaded on my iPad and give it a whirl. So volume 1 is just 5 episodes because those books look way thicker than like volume 2 book look way thicker.
Well, it looks like each of the, according to what I'm seeing, the volumes, which are there's 12 volumes and each one has 5 or 6 comics.
Hold on, I'm gonna put a link in the show notes. I'm gonna show you what I saw there.
But it also says 165 pages for volume 2.
Right, it was huge. It was like a really thick boy.
Wikipedia says volume 2 is issues 6 through 12. How big are they? They could be bigger. Could be bigger comics too.
Compendium 2. Okay, so Compendium 2 was the one they had. Okay, so I'm gonna put a link in here. This is what I saw at the comic book store. So you need to tell me the difference between this.
The compendiums are much, much bigger.
Yes, they had Compendium 2. They did not have Compendium 1.
So they this comic has been out so much. They have different. Okay, so yes. Okay, there it is. So if you get the volumes, they have volume 1 for free on Comixology. That's issues 1 through 5. Compendium 1 is issues 1 through 36.
I was going to say it's 824 pages.
Yes. And then, and Compendium Volume 2 says it's not out yet, but yet you have.
Yeah, it came out January 11th, apparently.
Okay, there it is. Wikipedia is a little old. Yep. Okay.
So that's what I need. So if I read volume 1, it's going to give me a taste, but I'm really after the compendiums, I think. Because that's what Saga was, right? Like that Saga you gave me was a compendium, right? Oh man, I love that. I love that so much. I was able to read the whole thing.
Almost the whole thing, because now they're doing it again.
I know. And you know what? Not for nothing. I did scope it to see if they had a couple of those in there, because the thought did cross my mind, man, I really want to see what happens. But no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until they come out with, a couple more years or something, and maybe they'll do another one of those.
If you go up to the counter and say, hey, I know it's small, but can you hold just an issue of, make a pull list for Saga? They will do that for you. And then you can go in whenever you want and just buy them, and they have all the comics behind the counter for you and go, oh, yep, here's all your Sagas, Drew.
Yeah, I should probably do that. All right, cool. Well, let's stop talking about comics, because I have something wonderful to share with you next.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
No, I want to hear about this, Drew. Yes, please talk to me.
No. Did you try it and you hated it?
I played like 20 minutes of it and I bounced hard off.
God damn it, Paul. Okay. I wanted to talk about Tunic because it's so fucking good, and I've been playing. I literally started playing it yesterday, and I was literally playing right before we hopped on this podcast. God damn it, Paul. Why don't you like it? It's
I want you to tell me why it's good, Drew.
Okay. So Tunic is a game that is an isometric Zelda-like with a little bit of, dare I say, almost like a Souls, like Dark Souls type mechanic to it, where you are sort of dropped in this world as a little cute fox, and you sort of have to figure out what the heck you're doing there and where you're supposed to go. I played the demo of this about a year ago, and I fell in love with it. And it just released pretty much on every platform last week. It is free on Xbox Game Pass. I downloaded it Friday, and I started playing it, and my God, it's so friggin' good. How many hours do I have in it so far? Hang on. How do I tell how many hours I've played this game? There has to be a way. Manage, more. Can I not see how many hours I've played something in the Xbox app? How do I do this?
I don't know. I can tell you how long I played it for. 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Can I not see my playtime? Hang on a second. This is really unnerving. General? I don't know. I'm not going to waste your time with. I'm not going to waste your time trying to figure that out. But I probably have I don't know, probably 15 hours into it right now. I love it. It scratches a very familiar Zelda itch for me. Not less Breath of the Wild and more Link to the Past. The game is obtuse on purpose. You can't read the language that anybody's speaking. You're not sure where you're supposed to go. It encourages you to experiment because you can't tell what the item descriptions are. You literally find pages to the instruction manual as you're playing. The animations and the artwork and the isometric layout of the levels play into everything. I'm far enough along that I've sort of discovered the quote-unquote plot of what's happening, and I'm totally invested, and the fox is super cute. So just shit in my cereal, Paul. Tell me why you don't like it.
That whole obtuse thing just rubbed me the absolute wrong way.
But it gets better so fast.
Okay, but that whole it gets better thing, I don't got time for that shit. It's got to be good at the beginning too.
So
I don't know.
When did you stop?
Okay, so first of all, that early era of Zelda, I never enjoyed. The whole isometrics, and so coming a lot of people have nostalgia for that. I never enjoyed those.
Okay, fair.
I was
fair,
I was
fair.
I was much more into in that time like platformers and like beat 'em ups. So I don't have that kind of like, ooh, it's like old style Zelda. For me, it's like, ooh, it's old style Zelda. In fact, the only Zelda, spoiler alert, the only Zelda game I ever actually really liked was Breath of the Wild. I don't like Ocarina or whatever the one that everyone likes.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
And like Wind Waker, I don't like any. I've never liked Zelda. I started going to the hero's grave because it had a picture of a sword on it, and I just had a stick. And then I figured out, oh, the campfire's making all the bad guys come back. And then I died, and I'm like, I'm done with this game. And then I saw the animation. What happens when you die? Like, ooh, maybe I'm supposed to die. Then it gets better. And then it was the same game, and I was like, fuck this, and like shut it off. And I went downstairs, and my wife was actually like, it was so unusual. She's like, you just went up there. And then I told her this, like, well, I saw this word in the podcast show notes called Tunic ! I'm like, I wonder what that is. So I Googled it, and like, maybe it's a video game. And then it was a video game. And then I saw it was on Game Pass, and it had a cute little fox. So I downloaded it, and then I played it, and then I said, fuck this shit. And then I stopped playing it. That's the whole story. It's just, I get some people are going to like the obtuse in the mystery. It just like, as soon as I saw things in that weird language, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like learn this language.
No,
to be able to read
you
this
don't.
In 6
No,
hours.
no,
And then I was done.
no.
Nope.
You're
Nope.
thinking about it wrong. You're doing it wrong, Paul. You're doing it wrong. Okay, listen. I don't like games either that don't give you even the faintest notion of what you are supposed to do. Like, that's part of the reason that I never got into Shadow of the Colossus. I never got into any of the Dark Souls games because, like, I hated the fact, much like you just experienced with this game, where, like, in Dark Souls 2, where, like, you can walk across this bridge, but oops, there's a dragon and you're dead. And it's just like, okay, well, where do I go, right? But here's why I stuck with this one. Number one, the penalty for death in this game is a joke. Like, you lose 20 gold, but you can always get it back even if you die again. And at first, you're not sure what gold is for, but that's part of what you sort of have to figure out. Now, I could see how you would look at everything you've seen right now and you're like, ugh, I got to figure out what these symbols mean. No. The game wants you to explore, and the game gives you plenty of outs. Like, not to jump ahead too far, but like, I'm far enough into the game where I am at the point where I have to defeat a series of mini bosses. And if I have any complaint about this game, is that sometimes the combat can be a little bit clunky when there's a lot of enemies on the screen or you're fighting a very fast enemy. I'm sure that I could just, quote unquote, get good with a U and it wouldn't be a problem, right?
Right.
But I am at the point where I have to fight these guys. And as frustrating as some of those fights can be, at any time I could leave and come back after I go explore a little bit more, and I'm like, oh, maybe I have to power up, right? Maybe I got to find a better thing, or maybe I have to increase my stats, which the game masterfully holds your hand and holds things back. Like, put it this way. When I first started playing the game, right, I could have done some things that I didn't know about right away. But then the game's just like, oh, hey, by the way, you could do this thing. And it's just the way that it drops it on you. I was like, holy shit. And the story, right? Nobody talks, right? It's all like inference and context clues about what's sort of happening. And let me ask you a question. Did you actually get the sword?
No.
Okay. So,
no.
Okay. Just, you owe it to yourself, okay? I would say that I don't want to spoil it, but there is an immediate objective after getting the sword that you need to do. Okay. And if you at least get through that part and you can honestly tell me that you still hate it, I'll never bring it up to you again.
Okay.
But you owe it to yourself.
I don't know if I'll have time to play anything before next week. but I will try.
It's so good. It's so freaking good. And like just the way that they kind of drip feed, like at first they sort of drip feed some of these facts to you, right? Because everything's so weird and the island is weird. And that death sequence that you saw, that plays into it a little bit later. Like, oh, this is supposed to happen. I'm supposed to die. I'm supposed to iterate. Yes, that's part of it.
Does the game ever add a map?
No. Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. But again, it's just the way that it sort of gives you pieces of the instruction manual at just the right times, and it gives it to you out of order for a reason that I can't tell you right now. God damn. I don't know what studio made this game. I want to say it's like a very, very small team.
Finji?
Yeah. The artwork and the animation, I don't think they made anything else.
Oh no, they have. Just nothing I recognize.
Oh man, there's a Discord, and
they made Cannibal.
Yeah. And like part of me, like when I'm really into a game, like for instance, like Destiny 2, right? Like Destiny 2 Witch Queen came out, and like Bungie tries to do the obscure thing to the point where it's annoying to me. Like, my time is precious. I already have 500 hours in your game. Please don't make me spend another 20 trying to figure something out. I will absolutely go on to, to go on there and look something up to save time. I have purposely cut myself off from Discords. I've cut myself off from the web. I have actually managed to solve the quote unquote puzzles this game has put in front of me so far. And it's just been so delightful. I love the art style. I love the game. I love the enemies and the artwork and the design, the sound, the music is so peaceful and it's so good. Yeah, man, I really wanted you to like this, but I get it. It just you really ought to keep playing it.
We'll see.
I can't even tell you how sad I am right now. I very rarely. Hold on.
I will give it another try.
I very rarely talk about video games with my wife because she just could not give a shit. But I started playing this, and she was like in bed, and I texted her like, "You have to come see this game." And she came down, and she goes, "What's this? It looks cute." And I go, "Right," and it's adorable. It's adorable. I love it. It's so good.
It's definitely cute looking.
And there's all kinds of cool items to find. And you get new powers.
I found a stick.
I know. And the stick sucks, dude. You'll get a sword. And you'll get other stuff. And then you'll have to like figure out like, okay, there's symbols with this. Wait, this symbol looks familiar. Where did I see that symbol before? Oh, wait a minute. It's something I have in my inventory. Now what happens? That was me. That was me all day today, by the way. God, it's so good. God damn it, Paul. Why do you hate the things I like?
I'm sorry. It's just not my... It has a lot of things going against it. I don't like games that are obtuse. I don't like games where the game itself is the mystery. I don't like that particular style of game. It's got like every strike against it, and I just bounced off of it hard. I will if I have time again, I will give it I don't mind mysteries. I don't like it when the game itself, like, I don't like meta mysteries where like you're trying to figure out the game inside the game. It's just it's too cute for me. And
okay, all right.
But I'll give it another try. We'll see if I'll try to get the sword.
Get the sword. It gets better, and then as you're adventuring, you will start to realize that there is multiple layers to this game, and I just think they did a masterful job of sort of letting the game open itself up to you. And I have not experienced that in a game in quite some time. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's what makes it special. Like, everything else about the game hits a bunch of high notes for me, but that eventual opening up of the game where it's like, boy, I bet you feel stupid you didn't try this before. And you're right, I did. I was like, why didn't I try this before? Everything was in front of me to try. Why didn't I think of this till now? And that whole realization, and the game sort of teaches you the mindset you need to be into to play this game. And it's just chef's kiss. I purposely didn't stream it because I wanted to talk about it tonight.
Okay, I'm sorry to disappoint you again.
Ruined everything, you ruiner.
My son's playing Elden Ring now.
Oh, he hates himself, huh?
He's enjoying it. He's really enjoying it.
Not gonna lie, like I have like the way I'm talking to you about Tunic, my friends talk to me about Elden Ring, and I'm just like, I have been burnt too many times by From Software. I can't love again. I can't. I literally tried every Demon Souls game and every Dark Souls game, and I cannot do it.
He is one of those people where, like, if he sits down for a game the first time, he just kind of instinctively ratchets the difficulty up all the way. He's one of those people. So I think Elden Ring is just his right type of misery.
It looks cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm envious of people that can enjoy those games because they do look ultra rewarding.
Yeah. I sat and watched him for like 5-10 minutes, just watching him like go through hordes of enemies and stuff. I haven't watched like a boss fight or anything, but yeah.
But I guess but you know, you played Returnal.
I did not like it. Yeah.
You did not like it. And that's sort of in that same, like, I mean, those are fetishes disguised as a game, right? Where you want the game mommy to step on your stamp collection, right?
Course, like you want when I was much younger, like I remember just like beating myself against games like Tony Hawk, just trying to like eke out the perfect run and combo. And I don't think that's too far off from that feeling. I just like, that's not fun to me anymore.
Yeah, but see, in Tony Hawk though, right? Like if you see, I disagree. Like in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, which is the best Tony Hawk, right? We can agree.
Yes, we can agree.
All right, thank you. All right, glad we agree on something. But in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, like if I'm on a long trick run and I bail, I lose my score and I could try again. In Elden Ring or Dark Souls or Returnal, like you make the slightest friggin' mistake against those bosses and they'll just kill you in one shot. That's not fun. And you got to go all the way back and you got to do the whole thing again.
Yeah, but I think it's the same feeling that the ability to be able to replay the same parts over and over again. Because I remember like playing Tony Hawk and like playing like the same level for just hours, just trying to get the absolute perfect run to get the high score to beat the objective, and like just like well, I fucked that up. Let's start over because like you only have so much time and like you know just absolutely just starting over and over and over. Okay, I got to go here and grind here and then manual and then do this half pipe and then like just to build that combo meter up. And I think they're coming from the same place. That ability to just like the repetition, the going over and over is part of the enjoyment of the game.
Well, not for nothing. Did you play like the remastered Tony Hawk that had like the puzzle mode?
I bought it and I played it for like an afternoon and really enjoyed myself and then never played it again.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. It was a great, I got it on sale. It was a great nostalgia thing. Like, yeah, I remember wow, I didn't know that my brain remembered all of the music from Tony Hawk 2, but it does.
And it sure fucking does, man. God.
Oh.
Those were a special game at a special time. You know what else? You know other game I really played the fuck out of in addition to that? Did you play any of the SSX games?
No, I never did that. Those are the snowboarding ones, right?
Yeah.
I did play
SSX Tricky to this day. Because I was an RA when that was out, and everybody on my floor, like at any given time of a night, you could find somebody playing that game and trying to beat somebody else at it. I mean, it was like my freshman and sophomore year, it was GoldenEye 24/7, and then people started bringing like PlayStation 2s to college, and it was just SSX Tricky all the fucking time.
You and I did play was Amped on the original Xbox.
Amped was all right.
Yeah,
Amped was all right. Man, a lot of video game nostalgia tonight, man. All right, let's get out of here.
All right,
I gotta go play Tunic.
Yeah, go play your sad Fox game. Hey, we're on the internet, doingtheirbest.com. We're on Twitter at doingbestpod. You can find me on Twitter at Paul Baylor. And where can we find you, Drew?
I'm on Twitter at PITTFURG, Pitford.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.